Deep down in the big blue ocean, where the waves danced and the sunlight shimmered through the water, lived a little octopus named Oliver. Oliver was no ordinary octopus. He was curious, playful, and full of energy. Every day, he loved to explore the ocean, twisting and twirling through coral tunnels, playing hide-and-seek with colorful fish, and making patterns in the soft sandy seabed. One morning, Oliver woke up feeling extra wiggly. He stretched all 8 of his tentacles and grinned. "Today is going to be an extra fun day," he thought. He jetted out of his cozy rock den and spun in circles, feeling the water rush past him. Oliver spotted a group of tiny silver fish darting around a tall seaweed forest. "Let's play chase!" He giggled and zoomed after them. He spun, flipped, and curled, trying to catch up. His tentacles waved and wobbled, moving faster and faster. He swirled around a coral arch, then looped through a cave, and before he knew it— oh no! Oliver suddenly felt a tight pull. He stopped and looked down. His tentacles were tangled. They were twisted and knotted together like seaweed in the wind. Oliver tried to move, but his tentacles wouldn't budge. He tugged and pulled, but the more he struggled, the tighter they became. Panic bubbled up inside him. "What do I do?" he thought. "I'm stuck." Oliver's heart began to beat faster. He wiggled and wriggled, but nothing worked. "Help!" he called, but no one was nearby. He felt his worries grow bigger, just like a pufferfish when it's scared. Then Oliver remembered something his wise old turtle friend Tilda had once told him. When things feel tricky, take a deep breath and stay calm. Deep breaths? Oliver wondered. Maybe that will help. So he closed his eyes and took a long, slow breath in, and then let it out. He did it again, in and out. Little by little, Oliver felt his heart slow down. The panic started to fade like a wave rolling back into the sea. "Okay, now I can think," he told himself. Instead of pulling harder, Oliver carefully looked at his tangled tentacles. He gently wiggled one free, then another, slow and steady. He moved one tentacle at a time, loosening the knots bit by bit. As he worked, he noticed something interesting. Some of his tentacles were stuck because they had looped around coral branches. He had to be extra careful not to pull too hard. "I need to be gentle, just like when I untangle seaweed from a shell," he thought. After a few moments, Oliver gave one last little wiggle and pop! His tentacles were free. "I did it!" he cheered, spinning in a happy little swirl. He felt proud. He had stayed calm, taken deep breaths, and figured out a way to solve the problem. Just then, a small, shy seahorse named Sammy swam by. "Oliver, I saw what happened. You got all tangled, but you stayed calm. That was amazing," Sammy said. Oliver beamed. "Thanks, Sammy." At first I panicked, but then I remembered what Tilda told me. Deep breaths really helped. Sammy nodded. "I get nervous when I have to swim through tight spaces. Maybe I should try deep breaths too." "You should. It really helps," Oliver said. "Want to play? We can swim a little slower this time." Sammy smiled. "I'd like that." As Oliver and Sammy swam side by side, Oliver thought about what he had learned. Sometimes, when things feel tricky, getting upset doesn't help. But taking a deep breath and staying calm makes everything easier. From that day on, whenever Oliver faced a problem, he remembered to breathe, stay calm, and take things one step at a time. And do you know what? It always helped. And so, Oliver kept exploring, playing, and learning, one deep breath at a time. Once upon a time, in the heart of the Whispering Woods, there lived a little squirrel named Sammy. Sammy was friendly, playful, and full of energy, but he had one little problem. He was terribly forgetful. One crisp autumn morning, Sammy found the biggest, shiniest acorn he had ever seen. He held it proudly in his tiny paws and decided that he must save it for later. "This will be my special acorn for winter," he told himself with excitement. So Sammy scurried around the forest, looking for the perfect spot to bury his treasure. After much searching, he found a cozy little spot beneath a large oak tree. He carefully dug a small hole, placed the acorn inside, and covered it with soft earth. With a satisfied nod, he patted the ground and scampered off to play. Days passed, and soon the first snowflakes of winter began to fall. As the weather grew colder, Sammy remembered his special acorn. His belly rumbled at the thought of the delicious treat, and he rushed toward the oak tree. But when he got there, Sammy froze. He looked left. He looked right. He looked all around. His special acorn was gone. "Oh, no!" Sammy cried. "Where did I bury it?" Sammy scratched his head, trying to remember, but his forgetful mind was as blank as the snowy ground before him. "What do I do now?" he wondered. Determined not to give up, Sammy decided to ask his friends for help. He hurried over to Benny the Beaver, who was busy building a small dam by the river. "Benny, Benny," Sammy called, "I lost my special acorn. I buried it somewhere near a big tree, but now I can't find it. Will you help me?" Benny wiped his paws and smiled. "Of course, Sammy. Let's think this through. Where do you remember last seeing it?" Sammy frowned. I think it was near an oak tree, or was it a pine tree? I just don't know." Benny chuckled. "Let's ask someone with a good memory. Let's go see Olivia the owl." So Sammy and Benny made their way to the tallest tree in the forest, where Olivia the owl perched gracefully on a branch. "Olivia!" Sammy called. "Can you help me? I lost my acorn and I don't remember where I buried it." Olivia blinked her wise eyes. "Losing things happens to the best of us, Sammy. But did you leave any clues? Maybe a mark on the ground or a landmark nearby?" Sammy's ears perked up. "A landmark? Oh, I remember seeing a big rock nearby." "That's a great start," Olivia said. "Let's go look around the big rock." Excited, Sammy, Benny, and Olivia made their way toward the large rock. When they arrived, they searched the ground carefully. They poked, prodded, and sniffed around. "Here!" Olivia hooted. "I see some loose dirt." Sammy rushed over and started digging. And then, thump! His tiny paws hit something hard. He gasped and dug even faster until, at last, he pulled out his shiny, precious acorn. "I found it!" Sammy cheered, holding his acorn high. "Thank you, Benny." "Thank you, Olivia. I couldn't have done it without you." Benny grinned. "That's what friends are for." Olivia nodded. "And next time, Sammy, try making a little map in your mind. Remember what's around you when you bury something special. Landmarks like rocks, fallen logs, or even a funny-shaped tree can help you find your way back." Sammy thought for a moment and smiled. "That's a great idea, Olivia. From now on, I'll make a memory map in my head." As they chatted, another friend, Millie the Mouse, scampered up. "What's all the excitement about?" she asked. "I lost my acorn but found it with Benny and Olivia's help," Sammy said proudly. "And Olivia taught me how to use landmarks to remember where I put things." Millie nodded. "That's really smart. I do something similar when I collect seeds. I always make a little trail of pebbles to remind me. Maybe you could do that too, Sammy." Sammy's eyes lit up. "That's a great idea, Millie. I can use pebbles, or maybe even twigs, to mark important spots. That way, I won't forget again." Benny patted Sammy on the back. "See? You're already becoming more organized." Sammy beamed with joy. "I sure am. And thanks to all of you, I learned that being organized and asking for help can solve any problem." From that day on, Sammy practiced his new skills. He used landmarks, trails, and even little notes scratched into tree bark to remember where he placed things. And guess what? He never lost another acorn again. As the first snowfall covered the whispering woods in a blanket of white, Sammy sat happily under the oak tree, munching on his delicious acorn, knowing he would always be able to find his way back. And so, in the heart of the whispering woods, Sammy the Squirrel learned the power of memory, organization, and friendship. In a quiet meadow under a sky full of twinkling stars lived a little firefly named Freddy. Freddy was like all the other fireflies, tiny with delicate wings that shimmered in the moonlight. But there was one thing different about Freddy. Unlike his friends, Freddy's light had not yet appeared. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the world was wrapped in soft darkness, Freddy would watch in awe as his friends lit up one by one. Tiny golden glows danced across the meadow, like stars floating just above the earth. Freddy tried everything he could think of to make his light appear. He squeezed his eyes shut and concentrated as hard as he could. He wiggled and jiggled, hoping to shake the light loose. He even whispered to himself, "Come on, little light. It's time to shine." But no matter what he did, he remained dark. One evening, as he sat on a blade of grass, feeling sad and left behind, his friend Lily, a bright little firefly, landed beside him. "Freddy, why do you look so sad?" she asked, her warm glow flickering gently. "I don't have my light yet," Freddy sighed. "Everyone else is glowing, and I'm just me. What if I never shine?" Lily smiled kindly. "Oh, Freddy, everyone shines in their own time. I remember when I was waiting for my light, I thought it would never come. But then, one night, when I least expected it, there it was." Freddy's eyes widened. "Really? You had to wait, too?" Lily nodded. "And so did Benny, and Jasper, and even old Grandpa Firefly. We all have our own special moment." Freddy thought about this as Lily flew off to join the others. Maybe she was right. Maybe his time just hadn't come yet. Night after night, Freddy continued to wait. His friends encouraged him, reminding him that his moment would arrive. But as the days passed, Freddy started to doubt. Maybe he was different. Maybe he wasn't meant to glow at all. Then one particularly dark night, a gentle breeze rustled through the meadow. The stars above twinkled brightly as if winking down at him. Freddy, feeling more hopeless than ever, let out a deep sigh and whispered, "Maybe my light will never come." And then something happened. A tiny flicker, so small Freddy almost missed it. He blinked in surprise and focused all his attention on his belly. And then, there it was again. A soft, faint glow. It was weak, but it was there. Freddy gasped. Could it really be? He waited, his heart fluttering. Then, just as he was about to doubt himself again, his glow flickered once more, brighter this time. Excitement bubbled up inside him, and before he knew it, his whole body was glowing. It wasn't just a flicker anymore. It was a bright, beautiful light, just like his friends. Freddy zipped through the air, his glow illuminating the night. He laughed with joy as he joined Lily, Benny, and the others, who cheered and twirled around him. "You did it, Freddy!" Lily exclaimed. "See? We told you your moment would come." Freddy beamed, his glow steady and strong. He had waited, he had hoped, and at last his time had come. From that night on, Freddy never doubted himself again. He learned that everyone shines in their own time, and when they do, it's always worth the wait. And so, under the starry sky, in the quiet meadow filled with dancing golden lights, Freddy the Firefly finally found his glow. And he shone. Oh, how he shone.